I, Dr. Shafiq Ahmed, Assistant Professor, Department of Business Administration Studies, welcome you all to the 10th session of the AICTE approved Atal FDP on AI for Healthcare Excellence, Innovations, Challenges and Future Trends. Surely you all have enjoyed your industrial visit to AIMS today. Today is the 5th day and the second last day of our FDP. Through all the previous sessions, we learned in details about the importance of AI in healthcare. Today, in our 10th session, we will be learning about utilization of artificial intelligence in enhancing mental health care. We are grateful and privileged to have amongst us Mr. Debapriyay Mukhopadhyay, consultant, vehere, Kolkata. Mr. Debapriyay Mukhopadhyay is currently associated with vehere Technology as a cybersecurity consultant and is working in developing solutions for cyber defense. He is also working as a visiting faculty in Indian Association for Cultivation of Sciences and also in Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata. Mr. Mukhopadhyay is a contributor in online encyclopedia of integer sequence and also has published many papers and patents. He founded Ganit Charcha, and under the umbrella of Ganit Charcha, he and his team work in popularizing mathematics amongst young school-going students. He is a senior member of IEEE, a member of IEEE Computer Society, and a lifetime member of Cryptology Research Society of India. Sir, thank you for sparing your valuable time and to share your intellect and experience with us.
Thank you for.
We are also grateful to have Professor Dr. Dhrubashish Sarkar, Principal, Supreme Institute of Management and Technology, and Department Chair, CSC, IT and EC. Professor Dr. Tripti Guin-Viswas, Principal, Supreme Knowledge Foundation Group of Institution, and Chief Administrative Officer, Supreme Knowledge Foundation. Professor Dr. Moshumi Addo, Coordinator of this Atal FDP. Dr. Uttara Basu, Co-Coordinator of this Atal FDP, my colleagues and my fellow participants. To start with the proceeding, I would like to request our principal sir, Professor Dr. Dhrubashish Sarkar, our principal madam, Professor Dr. Tripti Guin-Viswas, our coordinator, Professor Dr. Moshumi Adho madam, our co-coordinator, Professor Uttara Basu madam, Professor Sriparna Das of Optometry Department, and Professor Shobhik Das of Hospital Management, to felicitate Mr. Debapriyay Mukhopadhyay with a Victorian memento as a small token of admiration.
सर एदिकটা একবার বলুন স্যার একবার এই সাইডটা আপনি
Thank you everyone. Now I request our principal sir, Professor Dr. Dhrubashish Sarkar, Principal SIMT and Department Chair, CSC, IT and EC, to have a few words.
So, without further delay, just would like to add few things to extend our gratitude on behalf of Supreme Knowledge Foundation. I know Mr. Mukhopadhyay since long. I've seen very less profile who are having that kind of wider range academic degree in 3 premier institutions. Not only that, I am again I'm using this platform to say him sorry because he's requested me since last 1 year I couldn't get time. Making mathematics popular among students is his passion. His passion, whatever we understand by the term word passion. He has, by his own initiative, he has started Ganit Charcha, and periodically they try to publish such kind of journals or magazines on a regular basis. And I went through some of the publications and I've seen that this is an immense helpful for the students who would like to take mathematics as a career. So I think like big round of applause to Rupa. And from his side, we would like to give it so based on a question to any of the audience. So this is I'm keeping it, and that will be handed over to Nirav. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Without further ado, I request Mr. Debapriyay Mukhopadhyay to share his expertise with us. Let me get started. Yes, sir.
So first of all, thanks Professor Sorka for this opportunity. It's a privilege for me to be here today. And thanks to all the teachers who have been with me for last 1 hour. I have been here from 1:30. So for all the gestures that I have got for last 1.5 hours, that's amazing. So I would like to first thank everyone in SK for that gesture. Now, coming back to the main topic for is AI in enhancing mental health care. So healthcare is a broad topic and the main theme of these FDP is healthcare. So a lot of things we have already gone through. So there will be something which will be repetitions because every domain is interconnected. But I will try to put my presentation in a way so that which helps me to understand the area better and also help you to feel at least something about this wonderful topic. So my agenda is like this. I will first introduce briefly what is mental health and indicators of good mental health and what are the challenges. There are a lot of challenges there. And advancement in AI and ML would be game changer. And there are a lot of advancements happening over last 5 to 6 years or maybe last 10 years where we are seeing AI, ML, these words coming a lot of times. So if I remember 2003, I started my industry career in 2003 where the first project that I worked in is IDS. IDS means Intrusion Detection System, and that was a project where I had to come up with a machine learning model through which I can detect anomaly in a control network. So that was the problem that I was given. But then after working for 6 months, that project got scrapped. The reason being, it is not feasible to be implemented in a small control device. So that was the logic, that is how that project got scrapped. But then 20 years later, in 2003 in vehere, I again got the opportunity to implement ideas literally, and I have implemented in last 1 year these ideas in vehere's network detection and response tool. The only thing being the computing device is now low cost. So a high-end computing power we can avail in very low cost, which was not feasible during 2003 and 2004. So I understand that is my perception. That is why that project got scrapped at that time. But literature, a lot of good material, a lot of machine learning models, all got developed before 2003 and 2004. There is no other reason to because computing device has been so improved and it is coming at a low cost. Now, without data we cannot work on. So the next topic that I will be covering, I will try to focus on what are the clinical and digital data which can help me solve these mental health issues. And then I will go through some of the topics which are basically very relevant in these mental healthcare field, not only mental healthcare, in healthcare itself. So that is natural language processing, voice-based and facial expression recognition, outlier detection, then sentiment analysis and emotion detection, and predictive analysis, use of predictive analysis, and lastly reinforcement learning. So that is basically the MLAI part, and then I will be coming to the summary of techniques and tools, basically how things are basically used and where are the intersections, and then ethical issues of data collection, because since it's a mental issue, the data that I will be collecting or apps or anything that will be transformed into digital form basically pertains to some individual or group, so it's pretty critical. So there are a lot of ethical issues in data collection, and since there are ethical issues, so obviously there has to be some regulatory body to enforce key regulations. So that is the next part. And lastly, I will be talking about a few mental health apps which are in use in India. And lastly, cybersecurity issues in apps and data collection. That's basically the last point, because I am comfortable maybe in that area. So I will end my presentation with cybersecurity. So that's the motivation. So as per definition of who mental health can be defined in basically four points: emotional well-being, how we are basically expressing our emotions, or how well we are from emotional point of view. Emotional quotient that we used to hear, basically that's what it is. And then psychological resilience, because we have, in life path we have to face adversity. We have to face many situations which we don't expect. So how we cope with those situations where we don't expect that to happen. So that's the psychological resilience, social functioning, how interacting we are in a social or group situation. Cognitive health, so being able to take decisions, solving problems, etc. Now, how mental health is getting set. First thing is basically because of genetics. There is something which comes through DNA, so that's the genetic part of it. And then there is other factors like the environmental factors, which is also contributing to our emotional well-being or emotional quotient. Then life experiences, different life experiences can change our mental setup. So trauma, abuse, or chronic stress, those are part of life experiences. And then social conditions, the kind of society we are living in. The mental health care or mental issues are on rise. If I go back 20 years or 30 years back, when I was a student, these type of scenarios or these type of questions we hardly have heard of. But right now, there are a lot of things we are hearing day by day. So last day, my daughter came back and said to me that one of her junior, who was studying in class 7, got suicide. So these type of things are now pretty common. So it's basically coming from the society. It's coming from our societal structure, parental structure. So all societies or families are being nuclear. So we hardly talk to other persons. So these social functioning is at a very minimum. So people hardly talk with other people. People hardly talk with the kind of boundary they have beyond that boundary. So this mental health is at risk. So we need to tackle these things from every point. So this is one point that we need to also think about, that how technological advancement we can use in our field. So that's possibly the idea of this particular topic. Now, indicators of good health, mental health, basically how I think about myself, whether I am respecting myself, whether I have good image about myself, that I can do this, I cannot do this. So these type of questions. we should be having a clear boundary that what is achievable by me and what is not achievable. And if it is not achievable, then why it is not achievable, and if it is achievable, then what are the skill sets that is helping me to achieve this? If it is not achievable, what skill sets I can develop so that I can achieve that? So these are pertinent questions, these are questions that we should be addressing within ourselves so that we can progress. So this boundary, if it is not clear to anyone, that means he is in trouble. And then ability to form meaningful relationships, which is again declining. Flexibility in handling stress, conflict, realistic perception of reality, and independence. How independent we are in handling different situations, or how independent we are in tackling a problem. Example, there are a lot of juniors used to come every year as a trainee or as a new joinee. So what I have seen, they lack in their patience, they lack in their, I should not be generalizing, I am not generalizing, but I have seen in many cases that they need some sort of guidance to progress. So some sort of, they don't feel that they will be able to achieve this, or they will be able to make progress by trial and error. So they conceive that error is a crime. So I should not be trying because I can fail. So I should not be trying. So that's the kind of mindset they have. And that is why this perception and this block is hindering them, or is preventing them from trying. But every organization is telling that you should not be fear of trying. You should fail and then again come back trying. So that is missing. Day by day I am seeing it's missing. Now challenges in mental health care, it's a lot of challenge. Access and affordability. I give one of my own experience for one of my relatives' child. So one particular therapy session in Kolkata, what I have experienced, is costing around 2,500 for a 1 hour sit. For just 1 hour counseling, it's costing 2,500. And that therapy should go on for 10 or 15 sessions. So not all people who are facing this type of scenario for their kid, or maybe for some elderly person, is being able to afford that cost. So it's a real problem, affordability and access. Stigma and cultural barriers, everyone can understand that my child or my parent is facing some mental issue. Should I go and talk to the other person, even if it is a doctor, or even it's a psychiatrist? I am somewhere feeling deep within, I should not be telling this to anyone outside. So that's the kind of stigma we still have in our society. Burnout and workplace stress. So depression is coming from there. So pressure, peer pressure, struggle with many things. So that is contributing to burnout. Problem is early detection and diagnosis. A lot of mental health issues can be diagnosed if it can be detected early at the very beginning. But the problem is when it is detected, it's too long. His mindset have got changed because of his wrong thinkings, because of the mental problem. So that's another issue. And lack of communication. People don't want to communicate. If I have a problem in my home, Professor Sarkar being my good friend, I will still hesitate talking with him my problem. I will consider that to be a personal problem. Maybe he can help me out, but I still consider that to be a personal problem. I should not be discussing it over. So lack of communication is another issue. Given this, why we are talking about AI and ML? Because a lot of advancements have happened over last 10 to 15 years, particularly with respect to AI and ML. Advancement being in natural language processing, which we hardly could think of way back in 2000, 2003. So everywhere you can see applications of natural language processing. For example, you are typing a mail in Google, you write 2 words and then you see in gray there are 3 or 4 more words coming which you can accept. So that's basically natural language processing helping you to decide whether you should take that particular line or not. A lot of other things, you are seeing a post or seeing a message in LinkedIn, you see that there are some texts given to you, you can use thanks or congratulations. So all these things are basically coming from natural language processing. Voice and face recognition, it's a heavy task. Basically, to be able to come up with a model is pretty computationally intensive problem, but since we have low-cost computing devices, we can avail these flexible power, so it has now been possible voice and face recognition. Think about being able to detect what is that called? We everywhere see these cameras, right? So that detects face, that detects our motion. So how many of we have seen in these installments in an institute or maybe in a complex or maybe in an office where every movement is being tracked. So 20 to 30 years back that was not possible. But right now it's low cost, it's coming to your doorstep, and every complex, every institute, every office has got these tracking mechanism. So that is being possible right now. Outlier detection, a lot of new algorithms, a lot of new techniques have come in this particular area where outlier can be detected from a large volume of data. Outlier meaning odd man out, basically something which is not falling into a cluster. So that's outlier. Sentiment analysis and emotion data detection from facial expression, speech and text. So a lot of improvements have happened there as well. Predictive analysis meaning being able to forecast that something can happen, say for example in another hour. So that's predictive analysis, or maybe being able to predict something. So in mental healthcare context, if I can get the data, facial expression of a patient or facial expression or the kind of queries he is generating in Google, or maybe kind of texts he is doing to his friends or family, so that can help me get a good feel whether suicide tendency is there in that particular subject or not. And then application of reinforcement learning, that's basically the feedback mechanism. So what is true now may not be true after 7 days. So there has to be some way to look back. So whatever I am learning should be fed back to the system so that I can continually give pertinent decisions. So that's the reinforcement learning. But everything needs data. So here comes the data part. So what clinical data are required for mental health issues? So self-reported data, I am a patient, I am consulting a doctor. So I am talking about myself that this is the problem that I am in. So I have to fill surveys. The moment I enter in, I have to fill a form. I have to let the doctor know or psychiatrist know that what kind of problem I have. So that's the kind of thing. And then clinical interviews, doctor will interview me or will interview me to get some more data. So that's the clinical interviews. Then electronic health records, digitized patient records from healthcare providers, and behavioral observations. So any sort of observation which a clinician may have seen about myself, so that's the behavioral part of it. So whether I'm doing eye contact, what kind of speech pattern I have. So if I am very sublime, I don't have a very clear voice, so that means I am fearing from being heard. So those type of things, a clinician or a psychiatrist can very easily understand that what kind of problem I might be in. And then psychometric tests, there are a lot of psychometric tests available. So like MPI, WAIS, I don't know that what those tests are and how those questionnaires are being formed. That's totally separate topic. But so these psychometric tests, when is done on a subject, can give a lot of feedback about the patient. So those are all data. So that data are the thing that we need to basically apply these AI techniques to solve these mental health issues. So here I have description, examples and typical uses. So when you will be going through these PPT, so you can get to know that what are those. Now another thing is biological data. So this is psychological or neurobiological markers. So then digital phenotyping means a lot of devices we use. So that those lot of devices can give you a lot of data. Say for example, I can track number of steps that I walk every day. I can have can monitor my sugar level. So all these things can go and be captured as a digital phenotyping data. Then collateral information means the information that I can give from other person what I think about myself, being my family member, or being my friend, or being my colleague. So there are a lot of information because in psychology there is a quadrant. So quadrant is divided into 4 quarters. So one is what I know about me and what everyone knows about me. So that's the pretty easy part. So I know about myself and you also know about myself. So everyone knows. Then there is something which I know about myself, others don't know. And there is something where others know about me but I don't know. It's a fuzzy one. So I should be in a position to know that what others know about me but I don't know about myself. So that is the area where I can work on. And then the last quadrant where I also don't know what and others also don't know about me. So nothing can be done on that particular area. So those are basically collateral information. If I can get hold of those collateral information, then that can be a very good source of data. Then devices, wearable devices, data from fitness trackers or medical wearables, and speech and language analysis. What kind of speech I use when I talk. So if you go through, if you see some patient who is having some sort of mental disorder, but he doesn't know that he is having mental disorder, the way he or she will talk about, or he or she will face a community or a group will differ from a person who is not having that kind of disorder. So that's the kind of thing that if can be captured, goes as a potential data. Say for example, voice tone, speech rate, and sentiments.
How wearable devices that can detect mood fluctuations?
Wearable devices, because there are many wearable devices.
What for mood fluctuation?
Mood fluctuation meaning device. Say for example, I have a device which can track that how many steps I usually take in a day on average. Say for example, every day I walk from my home to a certain place in Salt Lake. So that's the way I move forward. So it's on an average, say for example, 5,000 steps on a day I move. Now that's, say for example, 3 months average, or maybe that's pretty normal average. Now for 7 days, it says that average has gone down to 1,000 steps on a particular zone. So that could be a potential indicator that I may not be in a correct shape to walk. So those type of things. Maybe I am not well. There can be some physical problem I have because of which I am not in a position to walk. That could be contributing to that. But many of the times it also happens, I don't feel like to walk because I am broken from within. If I am broken from within, that has to have some significance, or that has to have some effect on my physical activity. So that physical activity can be captured through these wearable devices. So that can also help in mood fluctuations tracking. Now these data that we have talked about can be transformed into digital data, because ultimately AI or ML has to work on this digital data. So it's a pure conversion or pure translation. So social media activity which can help in content analysis. Say for example, posts, comments and messages can reveal emotional states. Engagement patterns, how I am, changes in frequency, timing and type of interaction, my signal mood shifts. How I am interacting to other sports, whether I am commenting or not. So a lot of things, there are a lot of parameters to track about. Nothing is subjective here, or nothing is objective here, that this is the thing. If I track that, then that means I can draw this conclusion. It's a collection of different parameters which we should be tracking about, which we should be taking into account in order to come to a conclusion. But we need to have those data, because until and unless I have data and a huge volume of data, I will not be in a position to figure out whether there is any outlier, or whether there is something which is not falling in the average behavior of myself. So that's why I need to have all this data. Then mobile app usage, so mental health apps and different other general app behavior. So on a regular basis, if you think about that how you start your day and how you end your day, everyone is having his own way come to office, I first see my Outlook mail, and then immediately I switch to my server box. I do Vim, and then I start to browse through code, and then I again come back and see my LinkedIn post, maybe after 1 year. So that's a pattern that I follow regularly. So that's how my normal behavior is being defined. Now, if there is something which is not falling into that particular way of my behavior, so that I can see something which I should be taking into account. In case of cyber security, we model these type of behavior profiling for a particular desktop or a particular host. So every host is assigned to a particular person. So he is having his own way of using that particular machine. One fine morning, I see that particular behavior has been not being followed. So I can easily conclude that there is someone who is sitting on that particular desktop. That is why it has happened. So I can raise an alarm. So that's a cybersecurity case. But a similar thing I can adopt here to figure out whether there is something which is troubling me. So that is mobile app usage. And same thing, wearable device data. A lot of data I can get from those heart rate, sleep patterns, physical activity, everything. Then text and chat data, chatbots, messaging platforms, search engine queries, what kind of search I am doing. So that's a pretty good indicator. Survey and self-report data, the kind of survey that I go ahead and do when I visited a doctor. So that is survey and self-report data. Voice and video data, tone, pace, facial expression and coherence can reflect cognitive and emotional states, and location and movement data. So all these contribute to my digital data. That is nothing but the data that I have talked about converted into the digital form, so that machine learning algorithms can, or AI algorithms can now be applied. So the first thing is natural language processing. So natural language processing is a very good tool here, because a lot of things, the data that we have seen, basically the kind of things that I am typing in Google or maybe in other search engine, that is search engine query, we are typing as a comment to social media, or we are making a post and the text that follows that post. So all these things come in natural language. So natural language can help detect early mental health conditions. So social media analysis is one of them. NLP scans scores for linguistic markers of depression, anxiety, or suicidal ideation. And emotion recognition, advanced models detect subtle emotion clues in text, helping identify distress. So that is one thing. Another thing is clinical note analysis. So doctor has given prescription or given suggestion, clinical advice. So those things are written in natural language. So those are part of that EHR data. So now these EHR data can go through this NLP and can figure out whether anything doctor has prescribed over a period of time, which can be a potential indicator of something wrong being predicted, or something wrong can happen maybe down the line. So that is clinical note analysis on unstructured EHR data, and then phenotyping. So help segment patients with conditions like major depressive disorder into subtypes for more targeted treatment. And then suicide risk prediction, NLP models can be trained to do that, and it can work on different particular things. Say for example, you talk with chatbots, so those texts can be taken into account, and that can reflect, you type in, again the same digital data can be used. And then monitoring therapy progress. So you are going through therapy, so those therapy basically can help, what is the progress that is being made through those therapies. That can also be predicted through these NLP models. Now the kind of model that I have seen being used in NLP, particularly in this context, is BART, that is bidirectional encoders representation from transformers. So there are three versions of BART, basically BART, and then another is robust A, and then another is distill BART. So these are basically the three variants of BART. One example being that email. When I am writing email, and then it is being able to predict what is the next word that I should be using, or maybe next 2 or 3 words that I can use while writing a mail. That's basically coming from this distill BART. So distill BART is basically very low, very fast, and it doesn't use that much of memory. So that's the benefit of distill BART. But BART is the first thing, but it's pretty computationally intensive, so it's slow. TIF is another one. Word to vector is another mechanism. Sentiment analysis is another, and topic modeling. This is basically your large volume of text, whatever you have gathered as a part of your digital data collection, can go through figuring out each and what can be associated with the topic. So what is that topic? So you define the topic, and accordingly for each word being used in that particular document, you level that, okay, this particular word belongs to this topic, this particular word belongs to this topic. And then you do topic modeling, and there are different algorithms. One is LDA. LDA is basically probabilistic way of handling. What is the probability that one particular word will come next, or one particular word will be more relevant, or a group of words will be more relevant, given a set of documents that can figure out through this topic model. Now this voice recognition in mental health care, so AI systems can analyze voice-based markers like tone, pitch, rhythm and speech rate to detect these indicators of mental health conditions. Applications are again early detection. That's the major bottleneck or the major problem. If I can detect early any problem, then continuous monitoring. I should be able to monitor continuously whether I am making any progress or not in my therapy journey. And therapeutic support, it's mostly the same. Voice feedback during therapy session helps tailor interventions and improve patient engagement. And accessibility, so that voice interfaces break barriers for those with literacy or mobility changes, expanding access to mental health resources. So basically these are the main critical applications which we can have through these AI tools. One particular example being is Kintsugi Health and Sonde Health. These are voice recognition tools through which you can get a lot of data. Face recognition, there has been a lot of improvement in face recognition over the last decade. So here, through face recognition, you can detect your emotional pattern, because when you see my face, you can see that what kind of state I am in. I can also see that what kind of state you are in. So that gives a good indication that whether I am in distress or not. Often we see through face and tell you, are you not wrong today? Are you in problem today? So these kind of things can be done through face recognition. And then teletherapy enhancement. So doctor sits with the patient and talks over a video call, and he can see through the patient and can figure out what kind of state he is in. So that's the teletherapy enhancement. And behavioral insights. So facial analysis can reveal signs of disorders like autism, schizophrenia, or depression. Next is facial expression detection. So FER in mental health. So it has the same sort of application. So each and every model and different research bodies basically have tried, depending on their expertise, that how these problems can be addressed. So the problems are basically the same, but different groups, different research bodies have tried to solve the problems from different aspects, from different angles. So that's how we do research, right? So one particular problem I have tried to solve through dysentery. Another group of researchers who might have tried to solve that problem through supervised machine learning. So basically the same thing. Here also the objective assessment, early intervention, personalized therapy, these are the applications. These are the things that can be improved through facial expression recognition. And the technologies used here are convolutional neural networks, facial action coding system and multimodal AI. So different facial expression, different vocal expression, textual clues are all put together as a multi-level data, multimodal data, and multimodal and hierarchical machine learning algorithms are run on different type of data to come up with something which can be a good indicator. Okay, I will take some water and then I will start. Yes, please. So next topic is outlier detection. So outlier detection matters in mental health care. It's because rare conditions can be tracked through outlier detection. So these early detection of rare conditions can be very nicely done through these outlier figuring out mechanism. Not only that, improved diagnostic accuracy. So identifying anomalies helps refine diagnostic models by reducing noise and bias. So I am going through a treatment process, therapeutic process. So that therapeutic process is a journey kind of. So it will slowly help me to come back to the normal scenario. Normal scenario is not his own behavioral profile because he has got some problem. So normal is in the state, is basically defined the way we should be behaving. So the progress, because my profile basically was erroneous. So now the more I figure out that I have got outlier, that means I am coming out from my own zone where I used to be behaving. So that's how outlier detection can help figuring out that whether my therapeutic process is working properly or not. I am going through therapeutic process but I am not getting any outlier. That means I am still working in the same mental behavior, same mental pattern. So it's not giving me any right direction. So that's what is being meant here. Personalized treatment, outlier analysis can uncover unique patient profiles that benefit from tailored interventions, and data integrity, so detecting data entry errors or sensor malfunctions in digital mental health tools ensure reliable analytics. So something I have typed in which might be wrong. So that's pretty divergent from mean or other statistical parameters. So that could be possibly a wrong data that I have introduced. So these are the tools which are mainly in use, what I have seen. There are a lot of other outlier detection techniques, but last few years survey I was actually going through, and I figured out that these are mostly being named. So one is jet score. So jet score is given a data, how it's the kind of proportion in what fraction my data is deviating from mean is basically defined by jet score. So if X is my data and my mean is mu, say for example, and sigma is standard deviation. So it gives a ratio. That ratio is defined by X minus mu by sigma. That means X minus mu is my deviation, the deviation of my data from the mean. And sigma is the average standard deviation what I have calculated over my population when I was in the training phase. Now I am collecting a new data and I am seeing that to what proportion this new data is deviating from mean. So that's jet score. Then in that quartile range, modified jet score, it's basically a little bit of modification on the definition of jet score. Then local outlier factor. So if I have given data, I can go for clustering. So if I go for clustering, it will give me a lot of clusters. So even within my own behavior, I can see the different type of clusters in different scenarios. Now, this local outlier factor says that given a data, how much it is deviating within a cluster, how much this data is deviating within that cluster itself. So that's the local outlier factor. And then isolation forest, and then Mohalanovis distance. These are the few things that are relevant in detecting outlier. And use case, those are the use cases where these particular techniques have been used, and that's the description part. Now sentiment analysis and emotion detection. Sentiment analysis, a lot of progress has been made in this particular area to be able to figure out sentiments from social media posts. So 180 character Twitter text, I can mine and can figure out that whether there is any particular sentiment being part of the last few days posts on a particular topic. So those kind of things, it's a general thing, but for a mental patient or mental health issues, those can help in figuring out early detection. It can help in figuring out emotional trends, and also it can give personalized care. So this is one very good open source project which can help understand sentiment analysis for mental health using NLP and deep learning. The full data set has been given here, and also the models are been given here. You can start playing around with this particular model. It's a fantastic open source project, because it's very hard to get these type of data for research, particularly in mental health issues. People are very much scared about publishing because there are a lot of ethical issues. So they don't basically like to publish those, but somehow they have normalized and anonymized the data and given a lot of data through this GitHub link. So these are basically the techniques that has been used in sentiment analysis and emotion detection. So NLP based sentiment analysis, emotion detection, speech and audio analysis, facial emotion recognition, and you can see that deep learning is used, BART, robotic, which I have talked about. So those are used, lexicon based, that is basically NLP based things. All the things are in use in sentiment analysis and emotion detection.
Yeah, how emotion is basically recorded. It is it's from the speech. It's in the form of either audio, or maybe from the expression, or maybe from, I'm writing, someone write text speech, someone write a very good review. So there are people are from different mindset, people are from different health, from maybe I'm in a good mood, I write very good things. I'm in a very negative mood, might not be, I'm not giving back feedback to you, but somewhat I give. So how what are the parameters to judge emotional quotient of a person?
So what I got from your question. So you are questioning whether I am in the right mood to give a
sentiment analysis, emotion detection is somewhat related.
It's subjective. So I am not in a good mood right now. So I will rate you badly. Just half an hour after, I am in a very good mood. So I give you a very good feedback. So my emotion changes within this half an hour time frame. So whatever it is, it's true. So half an hour back, my emotion was not right. So that is captured the way I have given you feedback. And half an hour down the line, some trigger has come because of which my mood has got shifted, and I have given you feedback. So authenticity of emotion I cannot question. So what I have as a data, that is a thing that I can rely on, and that is what I have to carry on through this model. What you can question, what triggers my mood shift, or whether that can be used as a data or not. Because a lot of times happens like that. Say for example, I am sitting here now, Professor Software comes and gives me a slide. So think about that. So you are worthless. So my mood got shifted. So now I am worthless. So giving a bad feedback to SQL. So that's not the right thing. So this trigger, whether this trigger can be used as a data or not, that is the question. Otherwise, I cannot question the authenticity of the emotion that is being recorded through some reviews of some text.
I am judging the mental health of a patient or mental health of a person. And the sentiment analysis, emotion detection is I am capturing. But how it is actually giving me a conclusion?
No, it's not giving you a conclusion. That's the problem. Problem is the data is very unstructured.
Completely, yeah.
So that's the problem. And there is no proper regulatory mechanism to collect these data. Even if you are in a problem, you hardly first think of sharing your problem with doctor, particularly in these type of scenarios. Even for a questionnaire, I have given you a questionnaire.
There is no history behind that.
Yeah. Even for a questionnaire, if I give you a questionnaire with 10 questions, you return me back with the question. What is my confidence that the answer that you have given is the right reflection of your mind? So there is no guarantee, right?
Speech and audio analysis.
Everything.
When you are recording,
It's only subjective to that particular time instant. So there are a lot of challenges. So only over a period of time, if I see data, so that's why this profiling is coming to picture. I cannot judge something just by examining 1 or 2 days of data. So I have to carry on gathering data
history
over
of
a
data
period
or
of time. So that at least my confidence when I am saying that I am helping you to come out from this problem, or whether when I am developing a solution that yes, this problem can be solved through AI, or this can help you in your therapeutic process, I should be having a lot of data to at least have my own confidence that yes, 80% or 90% of the time I have got the right
not
data.
picture out the data, means
Yeah.
whether it is a right data, because everything can be
There is no
proper data, but which can be having ambiguity or maybe
There are a lot of ambiguities. There are a lot of ambiguities.
Sir, may I interrupt, please? I would like to address sir. Sir, actually, what sir is saying is absolutely from the practical side of problems. Because I have done some work in sentiment analysis. I have just completed my PhD on this. Sentiment analysis and emotion detection can never go together. What the sentiment that we try to analyze is directly from text only. And there we can never understand the mood of a person.
Yes.
Whenever we want to get into the mood or whether right or wrong, that goes into the biology part of it. But whenever we are talking about sentiment analysis, it's only pure text. There is no emotion or understanding or what is the mental state of the person who is writing. That does never come into play. Sentiment analysis is only text or whatever means we are trying to understand, but never does that come with the mental health or mental condition of whoever is writing that. But what sir is saying that from a practical aspect which happens in, or maybe for a certain case or a certain model that works, but sentiment analysis and emotion recognition, we can try to draw a bridge between them, but that cannot come hand to hand anytime. Because what emotion is, that is what is your mental state now. And that cannot be understood while analyzing sentiments from a text or video or audio, whatever it is.
So, for example, if I am, finding out that what kind of person, you and me, from this emotion.
Sir, emotion is something else and sentiment.
It is difficult to judge a person. Right?
Sir, emotion is something else and sentiment, understanding sentiment is different issue. And when you are mentioning it that we are trying to understand sentiments from text, that does never come with what type of a person I understand. That I am giving certain words and from that you predict something or you try to decipher something. But by that, if you say that I would like to understand what type of a person is he or she, that research-wise, there is we can
only
Or
clustering.
using
clustering. We
statement
can make it fall in a cluster, but that we cannot.
clustering we can do.
Yeah, cluster and other things we can do, but we cannot match that or we cannot say that these two are almost similar. These two are very much different.
Come to a conclusion cannot
Yeah.
be.
Sorry, sir, for interrupting.
So let's go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
So next is predictive analytics. It's basically being able to fit a curve, regression. So there are a lot of different type of regressions. So predictive analysis is basically very important. So putting regression, different type of regressions in one umbrella. So early detection of mental health crisis, personalized treatment plans. Again, the same sort of applications. Different data, different research groups have tried to address the same sort of problems from different angles. So early detection of mental health crisis is basically every group has tried because that's the major chunk of the problem. Because it's being detected late when problem has done all the bad things on a person. So every group has tried to solve this problem. learning, so algorithms like random forest, SVMs, gradient boosting, all these things are in use in almost deep learning. So LSTM, CNN, and transform models to analyze text, speech, and biometric data for subtle patterns, natural language processing, time series analysis, and multimodal fusion. So these are the techniques which are in use for solving those problems through predictive analysis. Now lastly, this feedback mechanism, that's the reinforcement learning. So whatever model I have, I should be able to update that model so that it keeps on changing over a period of time. It keeps on capturing the right behavioral pattern over a period of time, so that I know that whether therapy is going into the right direction or not, or whether it's having some other effect on my mental behavior. So all these things can be judged through reinforcement learning. So learning from patient responses, incorporating doctors or psychiatrists' feedback, taking into account new signs or symptoms, that's part of the therapy process or the treatment process, adaptive interventions over time, and optimizing outcomes like stress reduction or emotional stability. So these are the things that we can ensure through reinforcement modeling. So typical real-time monitoring of stress and depression that cannot be done without these reinforcement learning, because if I have got new signals, or if I am facing some new type of scenario, without having the outcome or the new data being fed into the model or fed into the system, I will not be able to figure that out. And emotion-aware therapy recommendations. So if any change has happened over my facial expression, voice and text, that can help me figure out through these reinforcement learning. So predict emotional states with high accuracy, recommend personalized cognitive behavioral therapy, and showed significant reductions in depression and anxiety scores in clinical trials. So here is a summary, the summary part. So basically put together all the things that I have seen. So these are the different ML or AI algorithms which I have seen in use: logistic regression, support vector machine, random forest decision trees, KNN, naive-based. Every algorithm has been tried. So different type of data, different sources of data. Different sources of data shows different type of statistics. The data tells the underlying statistics of the pattern, and depending on the statistics and the pattern, different algorithms come into picture. So if I see something where KNN is good fit, I will be using KNN. If I see some other data where KNN is not a good fit, then I will go for, say, for example, support vector machine or decision tree. So all these things have been tried out. There is a huge body of literature. Last 10 years, there is a huge body of literature. And then summary of deep learning. So these are the different algorithms or deep learning techniques which are in used on many of the papers I have seen. And this is the summary of different statistical AI techniques which all are part of these mental health care. So I have listed down all applications in mental health care where these techniques have been used. So descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, predictive modeling, deep learning, ML, dimensional reduction, NLP, time series analysis, anomaly detection, everything you can use basically to solve all these problems.
Sir, which type of algorithm we can use for personalization of the mental health?
Personalization of mental health. What is meant by personalization of mental health? I have
Means
mental health. So basically, what you are talking about, what kind of, I have a problem, maybe. So what kind of personalized therapy I can be suggested so that I improve? Because say for example, I have OCD, and maybe you have also OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Now the way I behave and the way you behave is different. So my personalized therapy includes something. Your personalized therapy should include something else. So it depends on the data that I generate. So depending on the data I generate or you generate, I have to study the underlying statistics. That what is the data? Because ML algorithms, if I use, or AI algorithms if I use without studying the underlying statistics, it is not going to work. you can, for the purpose of writing a research paper or for the purpose of showing something with 80% accuracy or 90% accuracy or maybe 95% accuracy, I can go on trying different algorithms, and then I see that okay, this particular algorithm is giving me 95% accuracy, it should be used. So that's how we think right now, but that's not the way it should be. The way should be, I should be seeing the statistics of the data first. The data has got its inherent pattern. So that should guide me that what algorithm should fit with. So it's not just one algorithm which will fit, but it can be different algorithms. So for example, if you go back to previous slides, so lot of personalized treatment plans. So that can be given through predictive analysis. So when I am talking about predictive analysis, that's basically regression. If you go back, you will see from facial expression or sentiment analysis and emotion detection, I can also give you personalized interventions or personalized treatment plan. Because I am now seeing a change in your text. I am now seeing a change the way you talk, the way you write comments, or the way you post. So it depends on the data that I am generating. Accordingly, I have to use the right algorithms.
Sir, one question for you. You told that there is a face expression can determine the anxiety level and how the personality. So if any anxiety patient is there, there is a 2 or 3 categories of the patient. All anxiety people are having different type of reactions. So if you gather the data from the different patients, so you will get the different data. So how will you justify that facial expression can lead the accuracy of the data?
What you told, so it's basically different people facing the same problem.
Yes.
Right? Anxiety.
Yes.
So do you think that I am anxious? You are also anxious. I am anxious on something, your anxiety is
Both
on
behavior
something.
is not the same. They are
That's what I'm saying. So the data I am generating should not be used to model your problem. And the data that you are generating should not be used in my problem. Maybe what we can do, we can have a data pool where similar sort of problems can be clubbed together. And then we can take a collective form. So for example, I am anxious about my result. Okay, you are anxious about your promotion. So my anxiety and your anxiety is different. So I can mine all the data who are anxious about their promotion, and I can model different data who are anxious about their result.
My question is actually coming from that for the neuropatient. So if they having some mental disorder, so they are supposed to react in a different way. Some people are emotional reaction is different. So they are if they are collecting the data from all the patients, so category of the patients. So we are getting a number of chances of different data on the different patients. So the database is huge. So we can't correlate to each other.
So similar sort of problems will come in one cluster. Now you have one cluster. So take them out. So now go for clustering among that cluster. So that can help you further understand that how data in a particular cluster is again dispersed. So that can help you give some clue that how your therapy should be. Because say for example, I have a data cluster which is say for example anxiety on a particular topic, and there is another cluster which is another anxiety problem. So I cannot club them, right? So rather what I should be doing, that same problem data, I should be clustering again to figure out what other techniques are available to figure out whether how I should be clustering or how I should be inferring the data of a particular problem. That is how we have these local outlier factors. Local outlier factor is exactly doing that. So it's basically figuring out the distance of a particular point from the mean of that particular cluster. So KNN is used here. So you have a particular point, and you have for all the points your KNN neighbors, K neighbors. So I am evaluating a particular data. So I have my K neighbors, and there are a lot of the dispersed of those 10 neighbors. Now you have one particular data item that has got also its 10 neighbors. You can compute the same thing here. Now if you compare these two numbers, that can easily tell you whether you are seeing an outlier within the cluster itself. So that's how you can figure out
how we can validate this data. That is the accuracy is the means.
that's a different problem. That how you
there is a mechanism for the model for the character.
So there are other techniques through which you can normalize data, through which you can reduce the dimensionality, the principal component, and some other things you can use. And there are other guidelines through which you can ensure that the data which I am seeing is correct. The question that he asked, that what is the authenticity of the data? I don't have any mechanism to judge the authenticity of the data. The data that I have gotten
On the basis of that statement you did, I can judge. See, last slide. That's why I asked. It's a very, I cannot come to that conclusion, right? That there I need to take it help of a doctor to find out the real
because
analysis.
you are not in a position to judge. Being a machine learning expert or maybe AI expert,
From the data.
you cannot judge that. So you cannot.
Till I understand you, till I get your background, till I have your medical history, all those things comes into the picture. But data and all, it is very difficult to tell you that what means mental divine and
absolutely. Now the ethical issues in data collection. So there are a lot of ethical issues in collecting the data. So first, privacy and confidentiality. So how do you make sure that the data that you are collecting and you are hosting it on a cloud for being able to mine it through some AI or ML algorithms will remain as secret or remain as private? There is no guarantee. So those are the questions that are.
Twitter sentiment analysis and all those things people do. They do it web scraping. So in a study I was reading that in a cyberspace, web scraping is not an authentic method, or rather it's not a legitimate or legally it's not correct. Is it true? So how people come
basically
the
the two different bodies. Yeah. One particular area of research is to figure out the authenticity or the privacy of the data.
Yes.
And another side is trying to solve some application related problem. Whatever data I am seeing, say for example the Twitter data that you are seeing. Now you are gathering all those data. So that data is personal, that data is particularly belonging to you or some individual. Now I am running some algorithm on that, on other infrastructure. So it's a data sharing. But through this sharing mechanism, I don't care about that whether the data is being leaked or not, or the server that where I am running all these things, whether it is running in an encrypted form or not. So those guarantees are not there. So until and unless you are double sure that the data that I am working on and the infrastructure that I am working in, the underlying technology is helping you to ensure that privacy, you are always in state. You are always in problem. And that's how you see that a lot of different websites come about saying that I am breached. So there is one mathematics website you can go and see, Purple Comet math site. So Purple Comet is a very nice mathematics competition. It's being hosted in US. And all over world students can participate in that. It's open for people, students from 5 to 10, 12, everyone can participate in groups. I am also part of that group. So last summer, April or May, I got a mail that Purple Comet website is breached. So they openly declared that my site is breached, and we are assuming that no student data is leaked. But if it is leaked, we don't have any response. So it's somehow breached. We are taking care of it, and we are coming up with new website where these sort of things will be taken care of. But it's open declaration from
that I have made a comment or post. So this is very confidential, and people who still PhD on sentiment analysis, Twitter analysis, and publish a paper. So means how much it is means from the cyber crime perspective or cyberspace perspective, that how much privacy and confidentiality as per the policy it should be. Means
particularly in this area, new acts are coming up. I will be covering that shortly. So government is trying to come up with new guidelines that how it should be treated, how it should be handled.
Till then you can actually publish. No.
There has to be some mechanism of doing that. So they are coming up with those laws. Say for example, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is widely adopted and deployed outside of India, everywhere. But in India there is no such law to have Bitcoin. But a lot of companies are still working on Bitcoin. You see that there are a lot of startups who are trying to work in Bitcoin, and it's there for quite some time. Not only for last 1 or 2 years, 5 to 6 years. If you go back, you will see that there are companies who are working from India. They are working in Bitcoin applications. But if you go back and see, till today, there is no such law being given by Indian government how to handle this Bitcoin, how to handle this cryptocurrency. But fortunate enough that in these particular area there are new laws coming up. So first law I think has come up in 2017. So I will talk about that. So there are a lot of,
but people can still use that public data and publicize and all. But there are issues. 65 and 71 new rules have come.
Yeah, there are issues like I am forced to develop an application on mental health care as a mental health care. And I have gone through Series A, Series B kind of funding. So I have a lot of pressure from the funding agencies. Why are you not being able to develop an app in so many days? So what I will do, I will have to somehow develop a model and which at least will to some extent give me some output, and that I have to show to the founder or the financer. So I will rely on this openly available public data. And still today there is no appropriate mechanism being available that how you can guarantee you are using mental data. Not only that, I am a client, paid client or subscriber. You are gathering my data, but you are not ensuring whether my data is safe or not. On your cloud, whether my data is safe or not, you are not guaranteeing that. And particularly in India and in many of the countries, we are not cyber literate. So even we don't question whether my data is preserved or not. My data is not leaked, whether it is not at all leaked or not. I have done some apps, so I go on typing my email address, my name, my date of birth, I log in to see something, and then I forgot everything. It's just trial purpose. I got to know about some application, and I logged in and see, and then I found out that it's useless, but my data remains there. I forgot about that. 5 years down the line, who will guarantee that your data is not leaked, your data is not breached? It's breached. That's how your mobile number, and you got so many calls from loan companies and credit card companies. How you have you given that? You have not given that. It's been given to those companies, so it's breached, but nobody is going to ask. So those kind of acts are missing.
Like even Indian Airlines, there was a huge data breach, and people filed a case against that, but it is everything got settled. No one took it seriously.
So these are all the things. Algorithmic transparency. You are using an application, you don't care about what the underlying algorithm is doing, and they also even they tell it that it is proprietary. It's a proprietary algorithm. So that's how they market it. Even I should not be telling it to you. We are developing a India product, network detection and response tool, which we sell to different customers, government agencies and different agencies. And we also tell that it's a proprietary algorithm, but we know that it's not proprietary. It's not proprietary. So this is the marketing strategy, and under the name marketing strategy, so many wrong things are being done day by day. So these algorithmic transparency, there should be rules that where preserved or not, or my security is preserved or not.
Like tools like Metasploit, Rapid7 you should go and download. It is now very costly. Instead of helping you with ethical content or other things, which is again unethical.
Yeah, everything is unethical. You are browsing your Facebook. The moment you see 2 or 3 posts on a particular area, on immediate next day you see series of posts on that particular area. Facebook has collected that data, mined it, and giving you that in the name of personal recommendation. So you are being marketed those contents in the name of personal recommendation. But many of those personal recommendations are basically false things. You have seen maybe that more video kind of thing where Infosys Narayan is speaking something that I have come up with Elon Musk, some type of data where you can invest 5,000 and can get back 50,000 within a period of 3 months. This type of video keep on coming in Facebook feed many of the times. And that's
you guys saw Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, that
I am not a Morgan Freeman. The first.
So that's been given as a personal recommendation. So who told you to give me those videos as a personal recommendation? Have I told you this? So have you given from me those explicit permission that I will be giving you personal recommendations? Maybe that is a default checkbox which you don't know that what is default and what is not default. And they will tell you, okay, you have ticked this, so that's how I am giving you this personal recommendation. But have you told me that it's a default checkbox? So no. So these are all the problems that we have, ethical problems everywhere. It's not just in mental health care or mental health issues. Everywhere, in every application I see, there are these type of issues being present. And that's why the main reason cybersecurity issues are growing day by day. Even there are so many good tools, even there are so many good strategies, but lack of policy, lack of literacy is helping attackers to come up with new techniques every day. It's a gold mine for them. Now, these are the key regulations and guidelines which are being acted on these days in India. These are pretty much relevant for India. So DPDK Act, so Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2022, which has come up recently, 2023. So I will not be able to talk about what the causes of this act, but I have just listed them down so that I also know and you also know that these acts are at least there in India. MHSCA Act, so that's the oldest one by I told. Mental Health Care Act, so 2017. So what I can do and what I cannot do. So that is being specified here in MHCA. And then these are draft. These specifically entails, but it's not an act again. It's a draft. It's still it's a draft. It's still not yet published as an act. So from 2018 onwards, 7 years have passed, gone by, but still DISA has not been come up as a
the government could not come to a conclusion whether the compliance.
So a lot of pressures from the different funding agencies. So if you enforce this, then I will not be able to come up with this act. So that is why it's still existing as a draft. And this is a global initiative on digital health. This is being published by WHO, and that's also recent one, 2020. So everything which is coming right now, it's pretty recent. So you can understand that this particular field is evolving. So a lot of new drafts or a lot of new acts will be coming going forward. So it will take some time to mature. Maybe down the line 5 years we have a much stringent set of acts which can help us believe that our trust is not gone for a toss. And these are few mental health apps which is in use in India. But honestly speaking, I have not used any one of them. So it's pretty collected from internet. So I am on the same place where you are. So don't ask any questions, just the names. So WYSA, your those inner or. So I have just tried to figure out what the features are and what type of application it is. So there are a lot of other apps which are in work particularly outside India. At least I have seen 10 to 15 apps which are in use in UK, in US, but I have not listed them down. And MindPeers and Tic-Tac-Toe, so these are few mental health apps which I have seen been having the most downloads or is the last field. So cybersecurity issues in mental health apps. So it's not the mental health apps. It's basically relevant for every app that we develop. It's not just mental health app. So it's my area. So I have put it here under the name mental health app. So it's actually pertinent for every other app that we use. So first of all is weak data encryption. If you go back 10 years down the line, you will see there are a lot of traffic which is plain text. So HTTP : you can access that. But now, if you see 90% or 95% of the traffic is encrypted. So there is a pressure. So you have to use a encrypted website. So things are moving to that particular direction, but still there are a lot of sites available where the encryption or the algorithm which are in use from cryptographic point of view, it is pretty unsecure. Say for example, these history of HTTPS or maybe the transparent transport layer security TLS. It is coming from 1997 from Netscape, which is no more in existence, Netscape. But over a period of time, different TLS versions have come tackling different type of attacks, tackling different type of security issues. The recent one being TLS 1.3, which is again pretty old. Basically 2018 it has got published as a RFC. Till 2018 it was a draft kind of, but then 2018, 13th August, it got published as a RFC. But TLS 1.2 or TLS 1.1, nobody has invalidated those TLS versions till today. I don't know why. Maybe from market pressure or maybe from other issues which are being enforced by government. TLS 1.3 is the most secure one, but even till today I can show you websites where TLS 1.0 or TLS 1.1 is in use. So what is the point? If I am giving the liberty of using TLS 1.1 and I am saying that I have moved to TLS 1.3, which is pretty secure, but I am giving you the liberty to develop a server or host a server which is using TLS 1.1. It's not the right thing. It's a wrong thing. So that's basically is in use in many of the app development and many of the algorithms, because these SSL stack or the security stack development is pretty costly, and we are not going to incur that cost. So we are going ahead with this weak data encryption. Inadequate privacy policies, that's what you asked. No proper privacy policy which can safeguard each and every bit of information that I share. So that's inadequate. Third-party data sharing. So you give your data that's lying in China's server, or maybe in Russian server, or maybe in US server. Nobody is guaranteeing that whether breach is being happening there or not. And there are a lot of times you see that this many data has been leaked from this particular server. So you are one of them. Even 2 or 3 or 5 years back, same sort of things happened for Facebook or some other organizations where a lot of passwords got leaked and you got an email or notification that you changed your password. So those things still are happening. Lack of anonymization. So in mental health care app, it is very much important. Anonymization, it's not my data, though I have given the data. So there should be some mechanism to anonymize those, and if required, there should be technique to map it back to my data. So those type of techniques are missing. Unsecured APIs, so there are different REST API calls. There are different APIs that we use in our day-to-day life to different applications. So those are using these APIs being given by third-party solution providers. So who guarantees you that these APIs are correct? Say for example, if you want to develop a application over Android, so you will be relying on Android-based APIs. So you are coming up with your own app for Android. So you are bound to use Android API. So that's third party. You have written your code well, making sure that on your side there should not be any breach. But who guarantees you when you are using those APIs and your data is getting in transit, those things are not getting leaked? Nobody ensures that. And then logging sensitive data, different applications logging those data which can be a potential source of breach. Targeted cyber attacks. stigmatization risk, and then trust erosion. So this is the biggest thing. I am seeing that trust is getting eroded only because that lack of lack of policies. So I cannot rely on that whether this application guarantees my information or not. Lack of cybersecurity training, that's another problem. It's a real problem everywhere I see at least. Lot of sites we use unknowingly, but in the back there are some trojans running, so they get deployed without your knowledge, and that passes every information that you browse through. Dark web exploitation, if you search a specific thing, you will see some of the times that, okay, my name is in use here, but that's a dark web thing. Somehow that information has gone there. So the moment you click, you will get to those wrong websites. So everywhere this type of
You check with have I been on like mail and
yeah,
all those things.
those are the
site where
dark web.
virus proof not So, but dark web exploitation means see, it is purely a different area.
Different. It's a purely different.
So how you will know that you are being exploited in dark web because you don't have access. Normal people. No. I access dark web because I play some time around creating a space and I create some onions. So it's my fun. So, but there are people who do transactions. How a normal people will know that his data is basically being sold or utilized in dark web? Is there any policy? And if in India, whatever players of dark web is basically not actually functional from India. Now from outside. All plus 4 plus 80 plus 81. So everywhere. So you get basically getting.
No, really, to be very frank, till today, there is no proper mechanism available to track those dark web things. And even, I don't know for what reason, government also doesn't have the policy to track them down.
Yes.
Government can only do that, okay, I can filter out this traffic from China. I can filter out this particular traffic from
Now,
China.
VPN traffic is not actually, because I have seen,
VPN you can access. VPN you can access.
Cross-country cyber terrorism is still active where you never know the traffic is coming from which country. Okay. So it can be routed through any country.
So there are VPN detection techniques are there.
But normal cases,
but that is rarely in use. Normal people, it's outside the reach of normal people. It's only for the government agencies who actually trace them down. They actually use us. Say for example, in our India, we have VPN detection mechanism. So we detect VPN traffic, irrespective of the country. So we tell that, okay, from these IP to these IP, what I'm seeing, these IPs are not correct. So since IPs are not correct, so the location that I'm seeing, that's also not correct. But the traffic that I'm seeing is VPN. So it's your call whether you want to see this traffic or not, or you drop it out. So those type of things, but it's, say for example, I'm a normal user. I don't have any way to filter those VPN traffic. So that is the problem. And then this insufficient incident response. The incident response meaning a particular breach has happened, and you immediately go see that what has happened and whatever damage has been done, so you just mitigate them down. That's incident response. But think about when there are so many applications or so many different security tools lying, but still there are a lot of breaches happening. What will happen in case of mental health data? So it's coming up. So there is no guarantee. There is no way you can figure out here that how to mitigate these problems. So these are the things that are there. And this is the future areas of research what I see. AI-driven privacy preserving mental health system. So that's the main thing, that your privacy need to be preserved. And then real-time emotional detection and response. Data is gathered, data is stored somewhere, and then some person is in problem. Down the line, 6 months down the line, that is being mined, and it is telling you that okay, this person was in problem. So real-time detection is a problem still today. Gamified mental wellness platform. So if there is anything which can help me apps or take these ideas to break these barriers. So these are the areas that I see we will be working on in next 3 to 4 years, in my opinion.
Which organization given the license for to control the patient data?
I don't think that
Because you
other
are
than
working on the patient mental health. So it is the retrieving the data from the different hospital or different clinic.
yeah, so it should be their data. So there has to be, I will not be able to tell you that what sort of guideline is existing there. Maybe the health professionals or those who are actually dealing with those data. Because even if you go to a nursing home or hospital, they are not bound to share those patient data on a public cloud.
Yes.
Yeah, so hardly you will get it.
That's why I'm asking that.
Yeah. So maybe ICMR or some other organization will come up with some sort of guideline going forward, which will allow them to publish those data in a secure way, and then only probably you can use. Majorly, whatever data you can get, it's basically raw data, it's anonymized data, and it's basically public data. So there is no guarantee those data will be really worth giving a try. But still, people are working on these areas and trying to come up with some new tools and things. So these are the references that I have seen. So there are around few very good references, all 2025, 2024 time frame. So I have tried to take a look into those. And that's all I have for today.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable insights with all of us. It was incredibly an informative session, and we all are deeply enriched with all the different facets of mental health that we have shared with us. I am also happy to experience this session to be an interactive session with lots of questions, a lot of interactions going on between you and the participant, and hoping that there are no more further questions to be asked to our resource person. Moving forward, about this session examines how AI and ML is reshaping mental health care through tools like chatbots, emotion detection, sentiment analysis, and predictive analysis. It evaluates their effectiveness, scalability, and ethical concerns while showcasing case studies and successful models that we have seen in the form of King Shugi and Fonde Health, WeBot and Visa. This session helped us to get a clear roadmap, stressing safety, transparency, and inclusivity in AI's integration to support global mental well-being. So once again, on behalf of SIMT Supreme Knowledge Foundation, I once again express my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Debapriyay Mukhopadhyay, and thank you all. Now I request our principal sir, Professor Dr. Dhruvasis Sarkar, Dr. Uttara Basu, Co-Coordinator of Atal MDP, and Professor Molin Chandra Das, Department of Media, Animation and Graphics, to come to the stage and present the certificate of appreciation to Mr. Debapriyay Mukhopadhyay.
You also to join us.
Thank you.
We need to move this side.
একটু সোজা সার্টিফিকেট
Thank you, sir.
Considering it is the most interesting can be. So, Professor Niyori would like to request you to come here. Editor of this magazine would like to hand it over to making this session most interactive.
চলে যাচ্ছে
Finally, we can call the end for this session, and we will move to our assigned computer lab for a hands-on tutorial, and we will have a refreshment there before the tutorial. That is obvious. Finally, we may end with the permission of principal sir. We may call an end to this session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.